Articuno is the first legendary Pokemon we're doing here at Just the Battles, and Articuno is the first of 5 legendary birds we're doing in a row. We're starting with the Generation 1 birds and then going to the Generation 2 birds, so let's get into it. And before we get into the video, I want to thank you all so much for your patience. I've not been able to upload for a couple of weeks, I've been quite unwell. As some of you might have known from streams, I am immunosuppressed, and every so often I just catch a virus that really knocks me for 6. However, we are back up and running. There won't be a schedule for a little while, but we will get into more and more videos. We're going to do a few Just the Battles to get ourselves back into the swing of things, and by January, I'm sure we'll be all back to normal. And in the interim, my Patreon has been paused for a month, just to be completely fair to everybody who's already signed up and everyone who was thinking about signing up. And with all that out of the way, we are now ready to take on the challenge with Articuno. We'll start off by taking a look at the stats. At level 5 we have 24 HP, our moves are Gust and Powder Snow, we're holding a berry, and our attack is 13, our defense and special attack are 15, we have 18 in special defense and 15 in speed. Our hidden power type for this run is Ground once more, and we'll be making our way to our first gym in Violet City. Our first leader is Falconer, and we are an Ice type Pokemon, so we have a very clear type advantage over Falconer's Pokemon. Falconer leads with Pidgey, which we one-shot with Powder Snow, and out comes his Pidgeotto. Powder Snow gets a critical hit and one-shots as well, and we get our first badge in a time of 7 minutes and 24 seconds. That does also include the Sprout Tower because we have a type advantage over them, and we are now moving on to Bugsy. Bugsy is the second gym leader. He is a bug type specialist who leads with Metapod, and we have the type advantage over this gym as well. So Kakuna and Metapod both go down in one shot, and we're on to the Scyther. Gust takes off well over half, another Gust knocks it out, and we've defeated Bugsy in a time of 14 minutes and 26 seconds. Up next is rival number 2. We skip the first rival battle because it's inconsequential. It does not matter if you win or lose that first rival battle, you can still progress as normal. We're on to the Quilava, who does have a type advantage over us, but 3 Gusts later and we knock it out, and that brings us on to his final Zubat. Zubat goes down straight away to a Powder Snow, and we've defeated rival number 2. After that comes Whitney, the normal type leader, but we have a 4 times weakness to rock, so that Miltank could be a little bit tricky. We get through the Clefairy, only taking 6 HP of damage, and now we have to really luck out with Miltank. Remarkably enough, we do luck out on our very first try. We get a combination of a rollout miss and a critical hit to knock her out on the first attempt, and we get the badge in a time of 20 minutes and 47 seconds. Johto's a little bit uneven in terms of the pacing, and we're already on to rival number 3. He leads with a Haunter, and we've got hidden power ground at this point, so Haunter, Magnemite and Quilava all have a super effective move, although we don't quite OHKO the Quilava, and he does hit a smoke screen. Fortunately for us though, his final Pokemon is Zubat that really couldn't punch its way out of a paper bag. We defeat him and we are moving on to Morty. Morty is our 4th gym leader and we have Hidden Power Ground. Hidden Power Ground is fantastic for Morty because all of his Pokemon are parts Poison type. He really is a dual type gym leader of both Poison and Ghost, and in this instance it works out very well for us with a lucky critical hit against the Gengar. That just leaves one Haunter that we outspeed, and we are making very good time, under half an hour for our first 4 gym badges. We only have a quarter of the number of gym badges we need to complete the run though, so let's move on to Chuck. Chuck is a fighting type specialist, and without the dual flying type, this would be a very dangerous gym. But with fighting only being neutral to us, we're able to knock out the Poliwrath before it hits 2 dynamic punches, we get the Storm badge and we can move on to Price. And this is yet another gym where one of our weaknesses is cancelled out by a resistance with our other typing. We also have excellent special defense, so we're not really in great danger in this gym. We easily take care of the Seal and we're on to the Dugong. Dugong gives us a little bit of trouble because it's quite bulky and it takes 4 shots to knock it out, but we're on to the Piloswine. I use Powder Snow against the Piloswine because it's neutral, however Powder Snow and Gust are doing roughly the same. Hidden Power also does roughly the same, and we just have to keep chipping away at this Piloswine. We got very lucky with a couple of low rolls from Fury Attack, and we do eventually brute force our way through to get the Glacier badge. Time of 39 minutes and 28 seconds for that, so let's move on to Jasmine. Jasmine is the bane of many runs, however we do have Hidden Power Ground. That's 4 times super effective against her Magnemites that she sends out in 1 and 2, and that brings us on to the Steelix. Steelix has quite good physical defense, so we are going to move on to Icy Wind. That knocks it out in 2 shots, and we've defeated Jasmine in a time of 41 minutes and 27 seconds. After a big run of gyms, we have another rival battle to take care of. This one is in the underground of Goldenrod City. He leads with Golbat, and Ice is super effective against that. We have the super effective hidden power for the Magnemite. Here comes Quilava. We hidden power that as well, and we are on to Haunter. No point in changing a strategy that's working. We hidden power the Haunter, and then we move on to Gust for the Sneasel. 2 shots on the Sneasel, and we have defeated rival number 4. I don't think there's another game quite like Johto, where the rival seems to get easier and easier with each battle. Let me know in the comments below if you can think of another rival who gets progressively easier throughout the game. Talking of easy battles though, this is a very trivial battle with Claire. We have the type advantage over her first 3 Dragonair, and that brings us on to Kingdra. We have Stab Icy Wind, which takes just 2 shots to knock it out. We grow to level 44, and we have our first 8 badges. Time of 55 minutes and 2 seconds for the 8th badge, and now we're on to the 5th and final rival battle. He leads with Sneasel this time, and this is one of very few Pokemon who we don't have a type advantage over, so we're just going to hit it with Return instead. It's back to the hidden power for the Magnemite, and we are on to Typhlosion. Typhlosion takes great damage from the first hidden power and gets knocked out on the second hidden power, but did deal a lot of damage to us in the interim. Haunter goes down to a single hidden power, and here comes Kadabra. We use Return against the Kadabra to knock it out in 1, and the final Pokemon is Golbat. Golbat goes down to a single Icy Wind, and we've defeated the rival for the very last time in this run. Time of just over an hour into the league, and as always at this point, it's time to heal up whether we need it or not. And then we'll say thank you to our HM friends. We say thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and to Paris. You've all been a great help in the Johto region get some lovely well-deserved rest as we pick up our 4 full restores and take on the Elite 4. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at our stats going into the league. We are level 48 with 165 HP. Our moves are Gust, Icy Wind, Return and Hidden Power Ground, and our held item is the Never Melt Ice. And as for our stats, we have 114 in attack, 131 in defense, 125 in special attack, 154 in special defense, and 116 in speed. So we'll now head into the league, and our first trainer is Will. He is a Psychic type specialist who leads with Xatu. That's not great for Will though, because we have a super effective Icy Wind with its name on it. He sends out an Ice type Pokemon of his own, so we use Return against the Jinx to knock it out in 1 shot. Here comes Slowbro. Slowbro is very bulky, but Amnesia boosts special defense, so we'll use Return against it to knock it out. And at level 49, we get a decent Ice move. No more Icy Wind for us, we're going straight to Ice Beam, and we're going to test it out here on Exeggutor. We one-shot that with Ice Beam, and we're on to his final Xatu. Another Ice Beam to the face, and we have defeated Will in a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Let's now move on to Koga. Koga is a Poison type specialist who leads with Ariados. Ariados is part Bug and goes down to a single Gust. Here comes Fortress. I decided to use Ice Beam against the Fortress, and that seems to have been the best option. I don't think Gust would have done anywhere near as much. We have Hidden Power for the Muck, and that gets knocked out in just 2 shots, and his final Pokemon is Venomoth. It's back to Gust for the Venomoth, and we don't quite one-shot it. A second Gust later, and we are on to his final Crobat. Crobat goes down to a single Ice Beam, we grow to level 50, and we've defeated Koga in the time of 1 hour, 3 minutes and 32 seconds. Up next is Bruno. Bruno leads with Hitmontop. We use Gust against the Hitmontop to take it deep into the red. Of course, being a flying type, he can't use Dig, so he can't stall us like normal, and we're on to Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan hits us with a very pathetic Fire Punch because it's special in this generation, and Onix puts up no resistance either. Machamp's next, and Machamp's Rock Slide does an awful lot of damage but doesn't quite knock us out. He goes for the heal, and that means it's a foregone conclusion against the Machamp, and his final Pokemon is Hitmonlee. We freeze it, which might just have got us through this battle by the skin of our teeth, and that means we can move on to Karen. Karen is the Dark type specialist and the 0 reset run killer, and it is no different in this battle either. We get Sand Attack, so that means our accuracy is lowered as she moves on to the Houndoom. Hidden Power doesn't knock it out in 1 shot. We get a critical hit, Flamethrower to the face. We're only on 5 HP, we miss a couple of times, and we're back to square one. A couple of resets later and we use Ice Beam and freeze the Umbreon. That means we are guaranteed to have full accuracy for the rest of the battle, and that combined with our bulky special defense means we should get through the rest of the battle with relative ease. We do a little bit of hokey cokey with the Houndoom as it keeps healing up, but we can move on to the Gengar. Hidden Power doesn't knock out the Gengar and it swears at us. That does mean we're on a clock for the rest of the battle. However, Murkrow is weak to ice, so we knock it out in one shot, as is Vileplume. Ice Beam knocks out the Vileplume in a single shot, and we have defeated Karen in a very good time of 1 hour 5 minutes and 58 seconds. One person stands between us and the Hall of Fame. It's the liar with the flyers, it's Lance. Lance leads with Gyarados and I successfully managed to fish out the Rain Dance, which means his Charizard deals very little damage at all from his Flamethrower. He does get the burn off, which is a little bit annoying, but we are only going to be using our special attack from here on out. We Ice Beam away Dragonite number 1, we do the same with Dragonite number 2, and that brings us to the only real threat of this battle, the Aerodactyl. We outspeed, however, and knock it out in one shot, so it wasn't that much of a threat, and the final Pokemon is Dragonite. The final Dragonite is also 4 times weak to ice, so we knock it out, and we've defeated Lance in a time of 1 hour 6 minutes and 53 seconds, and our final league time is 1 hour 7 minutes and 9 seconds. Don't go anywhere, Kanto is next. And we return in Cherry Grove City where we're retrieving our HM friends. We say welcome back to Kenya, Abra, Psyduck and Paris, and now we're going to cross the open seas and make our way to Celadon City. In Celadon City, Erica is waiting for us. She is a grass-type leader who leads with Tangela, and unfortunately for Erica, we have the type advantage over her, so it's a one-shot on the Tangela and we're on to the Victory Bell. Victory Bell puts up no resistance either, and that means we are on to Blossom. Blossom gets one shot and her final Pokemon is Jumpluff. Jumpluff is 4 times weak to ice, so goes down to a single Ice Beam, and we get the Rainbow Badge in a time of exactly 1 hour and 12 minutes. Up next is Misty. Misty is a Water-type leader who leads with Golduck. Unfortunately, we don't have anything great against Water-type Pokemon, so we're going to Brute Force with Return. Return takes care of the Golduck, and Ice Beam is neutral against the Quagsire, so that goes down in one shot, and here comes the pesky Lapras. We get a critical hit with Hidden Power, but she uses Perish Song. Perish Song is awful for us because that puts us on a clock. We don't one-shot the Starmie, and we get knocked out. Let's try again. This time, hopefully Lapras won't use Perish Song. That really is quite unavoidable in this battle, I think, at least with the way I'm feeling at the moment. I couldn't think of a better strategy. So we knock out the Quagsire and the Golduck and we're back onto the Lapras. We use Return this time and it's a 2-shot as she uses Rain Dance instead, and that puts us in much better stead for the Starmie. Return takes off well over half health, but we do hit ourselves in Confusion. It uses Recover. We take it back into the red as we hit ourselves once more, but we manage to hit through Confusion for one last attempt, and we knock it out. That's Misty all done and dusted with a reset, and the Cascade Badge in hand in 1:16:21. Sabrina's next, the Psychic-type specialist who leads with Espeon. Espeon gets knocked out with a single Ice Beam, as does Mr. Mime, and that brings us on to Alakazam. Alakazam is a good litmus test for how the rest of Kanto will go, and we one-shot it, so we've defeated Sabrina very easily in a time of 1 hour 17 minutes and 24 seconds. Surge is next, the Electric-type specialist who leads with Raichu. We use Hidden Power Ground against the Raichu to knock it out in one shot, and he sends out Magneton. Magneton's 4 times weak to Hidden Power Ground, and we get a critical hit just to rub salt into the wound. While we're at it, we'll take out the Electabuzz and the Electrode with a Hidden Power each, and that brings us on to his final Electrode. Electrode goes down to a Hidden Power, and we've defeated Surge very easily, especially considering we're a flying type, and that's the Thunder Badge in hand in a time of 1 hour 18 minutes and 43 seconds. Brock is next, and he has a 4 times type advantage over us with those rock type moves, so we've got to knock him out quick, sharp and in a hurry. Omastar for some reason uses Spike Cannon, which we're not going to complain about, especially because he low rolled, and we're on to Onix. Onix is weak to ice, so we knock it out in one shot, and his second Pokemon not weak to ice is Kabutops. Kabutops uses Surf instead of any rock type move it might have had, and we are on to Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn gets knocked out, and with that we've defeated Brock with a lot less pain than I was expecting. Blaine is next, and we have a type disadvantage over Blaine as well. He leads with Magcargo, and we use Hidden Power to knock it out in one shot. So the Bumhead fired up, gives it a go, but doesn't get a chance to move either, and his final Pokemon is Rapidash. Rapidash gets knocked out as well, and we've defeated Blaine in a time of 1 hour 21 minutes and 16 seconds. Our penultimate Cantonian gym leader is Janine. She is a poison type specialist who leads with Crobat. Crobat of course is weak to Ice Beam. Weezing isn't weak to Ice Beam, but it's just generally a low level weak Pokemon, so we get rid of both of those. And that brings us on to Ariados. Ariados goes down to a single Ice Beam as well. Her final Pokemon is Venomoth. That gets knocked out by Ice Beam, and we've defeated Janine in a time of 1 hour 21 minutes and 55 seconds. That was one of our fastest Janine splits ever, but we've got to move on to Blue. Blue leads with Pidgeot, which we knock out with a single Ice Beam, and he sends out Arcanine. Hidden Power Ground doesn't do over half damage on the Arcanine, which was a little bit concerning. 2 Flamethrowers takes us into the red as he uses a full restore against the Arcanine. However, we get much better damage rolls on the next time around and we manage to knock it out. We're recovering with leftovers as the Alakazam comes out. We go down to 13 HP in the end, but we do knock it out, and his next Pokemon is Rhydon. Rhydon is weak to Ice Beam, so it's a free turn of healing for us, and that brings us on to the Gyarados. We get a very lucky freeze here, and that might have tipped the battle in our favour along with this critical hit. We are back up into the yellow for the Executor. Executor is weak to Ice type moves, so we knock it out in one shot, and we just about scrape through Blue in a totally undeserved victory. Time of 1 hour 23 minutes and 25 seconds. Can move on to Red. As always, we'll try at our current level with our current learn set and chop and change things from there. Red leads with Pikachu, who outspeeds us, and Return doesn't OHKO, which means we're going to be in for a bad time until we do outspeed the Pikachu. We knock it out in 2 returns, and our physical attack is lowered for the rest of the battle. Charizard's Flamethrower takes off a huge chunk of health as Ice Beam does next to nothing in return, and we get knocked out. So the first thing we're going to do is grow a few levels. At this point we really have no other option than to grow. We are slower than the Pikachu and we can't one-shot it, so our best option is to just grow levels. Hidden Power Ground does one-shot and we outspeed at level 63, so we are in a little bit of a better position. Flamethrower still does an awful lot of damage to us though, and a few resets later we still made no progress, so it's up to level 66. I always use the rare candies in the pattern of 3, then 3, then 4, and that's just to make it fair across all the Pokemon. We don't one-shot the Pikachu with Ice Beam, but we got a Lucky Freeze and knock it out on our second turn, and we get another Lucky Freeze against the Charizard. We knock it out in 2 shots, and this is our best progress so far. Espeon puts up a Reflect, which is just a free turn for us because we're mostly going to be using special attacks, and we freeze his 3rd Pokemon in a row. That is quite remarkable. I'm not quite sure of the maths for this, but 3 freezes in a row must be an incredibly rare occurrence. Unfortunately though, all that good luck goes to waste. We get paralysed by the Snorlax, the battle unravels, we get knocked out, and I decide to use our final 4 rare candies. It's now or never. If we can't do it at level 70, we're going to have to go on the grind. We knock out Pikachu with a single Ice Beam, and we are on to Charizard. We get a critical hit with Ice Beam, but we still don't quite knock out the Charizard. We take a lot of damage from Flamethrower, and that combined with a misclick means we are just going to take the reset. Back onto the Pikachu we go. It's trivial at this point, Ice Beam seems to be reliably OHKOing it, and we're able to comfortably 2-shot the Charizard with Ice Beam. That means we're onto the Espeon with 100 HP, going up to 115 with the leftovers. Reflect is meaningless for the Espeon, and that means we are well into the green for the Snorlax. Ice Beam freezes the Snorlax, and this was the lucky break we were waiting for. He can't do anything to stop us chipping away at him, and a few Ice Beams later we are on to Venusaur. We don't quite one-shot the Venusaur, but he uses Sunny Day to try and set up Solar Beam, and that just shoots himself in the foot for the Blastoise. We use Return against the Blastoise, and it's going to be a case of chipping away once more. Surface dealing a little bit of damage, but we're in no danger of being knocked out at this point, and one final return is all it takes to knock out the Blastoise, and we've defeated Red in a time of 1 hour 28 minutes and 47 seconds. And that puts our Articuno in 2nd place on the Just the Battles leaderboard. And Articuno was just 35 seconds slower than Kingdra. And with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for your patience. I know my voice has been a little bit shaky in this video, but I will be doing videos as and when I feel up to them. Hopefully the schedule will return in January. If you have enjoyed this video though, please do leave it a like. Please do subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.